Hello and welcome to Connected episode 516. It's made possible by our sponsors, ZocDoc, Squarespace, 1Password Extended Access Management, and KRCS. I am your keynote chairman, Stephen Hackett, and I am pleased to announce and introduce and invite to the show annual chairman, Myke Hurley.
Oh, I feel so invited and introduced and announced. That was so nice. Thank you, Stephen. Yeah. I am annual chairman, Myke Hurley, and I have the pleasure of introducing Federico Vitici. Ciao, Federico.
Hello, hi. I am nothing compared to you both, but you guys are my wonder wall, so to speak.
Thank you. We spoke for a long time about Oasis in the Pro Show today. Go to getconnectedpro.co and you can sign up. You have the opportunity to try and capture one of those titles, Federico. We're going to talk about that a little later on.
I will catch one of those titles, but it depends on the rules. And we'll talk about them.
We'll talk about that.
We will.
We got some follow-up.
Follow-up.
What is all this screen protector stuff going on?
A lot of people have a lot of feelings about screen protectors on the iPhones. A couple suggestions. None of these names seem real. Taurus, Torras, is a brand on Amazon, suggested by listener Tim. Listener Cameron wrote in recommending the Mothka, Mothca brand. Those links will be in the show notes.
My experience with screen protectors was short-lived.
Oh.
And by short-lived, I mean 20 minutes lived.
Just before we get this story, because before we move on from Taurus, can I just read the full name for you from Amazon?
Please.
Yes.
Please.
Taurus full screen tempered glass for iPhone 15 Pro Max screen protector, 8 feet, military shatterproof, 9-hour anti-scratch, no bubbles, no dust, durable screen protector for iPhone 15 Pro Max glass 2-pack.
SEO, man. That's what you got to do.
Amazon.
I got not one of these specifically. I got one of these from Amazon Italy. Had plenty of reviews. At a relatively easy application system. It's easier than it used to be back in the day. And I managed to apply the screen protector. It was an anti-reflection one. No bubbles. It was very easy to apply. But it did what it was supposed to do, but it was not the same effect as a nano texture display. It was really cutting into the vibrancy and the brightness of the display. It was making text fuzzy. It was horrible, to be honest. And so I used it for literally 20 minutes at the pool. My first minute was, oh, this is great. And after the first minute, I started thinking, no, this is not great. This sucks.
And the issue, I think the issue specifically that I'm expecting you ran into is because you wanted to get a matte one, right? Like if you were just going to go for one of the regular clear glass ones, it probably is fine enough. But if you're, we've seen this before, right? When we were trying like the paper-like things and all that kind of stuff. Inherently in trying to change the way the screen looks, it will change the way, I know it's very good, but even the matte, the nano texture on the iPad, it does change the way stuff looks, and that's Apple doing the absolute best job they can, but it restricts your viewing angles a little bit and stuff like that. So it's very natural that if you mess around with that glass, you're gonna get a not great experience.
Yeah. But I've realized that I just want a nano texture iPhone. If that's ever gonna happen, I'm gonna get it. But right now, I just need to accept that my phone under direct sunlight is no good. Maybe they'll make it brighter for the 16 Pro. We'll see. But
I actually read that in a rumor today.
I hope so.
That it should get brighter again. So
brighter, but no nano texture. That's fine.
I don't know if it's going to be Italian sun bright, but
anything
brighter.
Better than this one works. Any gradual improvement at this point works for me. But yeah. Can I tell you guys about the absolute best app that was released on the App Store in 2024?
Was this like a preview of the Mac Story Select App of the Year?
This is Mac Story Select App of the Year, future Apple Design Award winner. And I can say this with confidence. I'm not even the developer. This is going to win an Apple Design Award. Teachy Tabs. Like that is literally the name, Teachy Tabs.
Well, okay, so I actually saw a conversation with, this is developed by Jonathan Ruiz. He hangs out in our Discord. And
Yes.
someone mentioned to him about the name. And he was like, oh, I already gave it the name in App Store Connect, so I can't change it. So, like, I think that this was, like, the name initially. But, like, it's maybe not necessarily the best name for, like, wide release, you know? Like, if Jonathan wants to try and get it to more people. But it just is what it is now. It's Teachy Tabs, and that's the end of it.
Teachy Tabs.
I think 6 or 7 would have been a better name.
Well, let me read you the description. Teachy Tabs is the best way to visit your favorite 6 or 7 websites. Save them in the app, and when you view them, it'll be just like browsing in a regular browser. The app saves cookies, login information, and syncs with iClouds. Teachy Tabs is an incredible utility that allows you to save your 6 or 7 websites, as was my request. You can save more, but the ideal number is 6 or 7, depending on the situation. And what's great, like jokes aside, what's great about this is that it's a simple utility that lets you bookmark your favorite websites. When you tap on one, so you can rename it, you can give it a custom URL, it loads the favicon from the website, and it keeps the login session active. So if you log into one of those websites, as I was explaining for my membership-based publications that I want to read, it keeps you logged in. And it's doing that via Safari cookies and Safari View Controller, which is used as the web view in the app. What's even better about this is that for publications that use the Ghost membership system, as we spoke about, Ghost doesn't give you a username and password. It gives you a sign-in link, like it's called a magic link that you receive over email. Now, I don't love this idea that whenever you want to log into these Ghost Power websites, you cannot create an account or a passkey. You are emailed a link. I don't love that idea, but Jonathan figured out a way to grab that link from the email that you receive and use it one time to sign into the website in Teachy Tabs. And after that initial sign in, it will return to the base URL for the website. So for example, if I want to log into Birch Tree, for example, which is using Ghost, I just can long press on the Birch Tree website and say use sign in link. It gets the sign in link from my clipboard, which I copied from Mail, and it uses it one time to log me in, and that's it. The app has widgets, shortcuts actions, syncs with iCloud on the iPhone and iPad. It's perfect, and it's called Teachy Tabs. So what more could you possibly want?
6 or 7 websites.
Yeah, we all have this need. Sooner or later, it comes for all of us.
It comes for all
one
of us.
day,
Get to
one day
certain
you're
age.
sitting, one day you're drinking your coffee, and you think, you know what? I got those 6 or 7 websites that I really wish I could read easily on my iPhone. Now you have a way, and it's free. And there's also a tip jar if you want to give money to Jonathan. Please give your money to Jonathan, because it seems like a simple utility, but actually a lot of work went into this one. And I want to reiterate, it's called Teachy Tabs. So don't you want to see that on your home screen? I bet you do.
Speaking of supporting developers, we discovered and were very excited about the app Unwatched on last week's episode, which is an app to allow you to use it's the RSS function basically of YouTube, to mean that you have an app experience that just shows you a queue with a triage system of your subscriptions, and you never see algorithmically suggested videos. But we were all lamenting the ability to pay for this application. It was free, and we wanted to support the development. The developer of Unwatch posted on Mastodon a link to their GitHub sponsorship page. So if you do want to support this developer, you can do that. Don't tell Apple, though.
Yeah,
Because
don't tell them.
technically... This is against rules. But just don't tell anyone. And that will be really good. And I also wanted to mention, we had a couple of people writing about this, and I saw some people on Mastodon saying it too, that the app promotes that that you don't have to see ads. And I saw some people saying, like, this isn't good for supporting creators, etc., which I would agree if the app was doing something specifically to block them. But the developer of Unwatch actually contacted me and Federico on Mastodon and said that this is actually just a part of the API, the iframe player thing with YouTube, for some reason, it just doesn't show the ads, which I'm assuming is just maybe YouTube can't track the way that they want to there, so they don't show it. So it's not something the developer is actively doing. It's just a function of the API that they're using.
Yeah.
And so I guess they're just using it as a thing that they can promote, but it's just a function of the system more than a choice.
Sometimes ad blocking happens to you, and it just
happens naturally.
Yeah. Great utility. I've been using it for the past week, every day, every night. I love it. It's incredible. Yes.
And our long national experience is over. Performer month has ended. It ended with a bang, including a zombie podcast, a new episode of 20 Max.
That's right.
So I think this is the 22nd Mac, or maybe more.
It's Max 22 through 67.
Perfect. It's now also available. So congratulations on the end of Performer Month, Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. What a ride.
Did you?
I mean,
yeah. I mean, how much money did you spend, do you think?
Well, I bought 4 Macs
Nice.
in total. So
one a week. You bought one a week,
one,
which I actually think is what I said would happen.
One per week. They were kind of bunched together. But yeah, It's awesome. And I said it last time we spoke about this, but thank you everyone for reading it and all your emails and notes on social media. This was way more fun than I thought it would be. And honestly, way more fun than it felt about halfway through. I got about Article 7. I was like, what have I done? Now I'm committed. But yes, and especially thank you to Jason, who, while trying to talk me out of this idea, was very gracious with his time and letting us bring 20 Max back for this episode. It was the perfect place for that conversation. And I really enjoyed that episode. I mean, Jason was covering Apple during some of this time. And so it was really interesting to hear his input. And he and I really didn't talk about performance very much, like behind the scenes, because I was like saving it for the conversation. I think people who go check it out will really enjoy it.
It is next in my queue, and I'm very excited to listen to it.
Yeah, it was good to bring it back. This episode of Connected is brought to you by ZocDoc. There are some things in life that are okay to be totally terrible, like trying a new type of milk in your coffee, or rolling the dice on a new workout class, or maybe mixing it up with a new takeout spot. But finding the right doctor shouldn't be so risky, and with ZocDoc it's not, because you have more options than you know. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality, in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care and skin care, and so much more. You can see their actual appointment openings, choose a time that works for you, and click to instantly book a visit. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. If you're looking for a new doctor, maybe you moved, maybe you have something new going on, maybe your doctor retired. I had that happen to me once. ZocDoc is a great way to find a new provider. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/connected to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/connected. Our thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring the show and supporting Relay. Dear listener, you have joined us on a momentous occasion because this is the beginning of our 6th annual fundraiser for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We've been doing this since 2019, and it is it's a real pleasure when we get to launch this thing at the end of every August, and we do it with this very episode of Connected right here. So why September? Why St. Jude? If you're new around here, or new to our fundraiser, we do it in September because September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And since Relay's first campaign for St. Jude in 2019, we've raised over $2.9 million as a community. So why do we do this? Why do we care about this institution? Well, St. Jude does amazing work. Every day, children around the globe are diagnosed with cancer, and that's obviously really scary and really serious. And St. Jude does the best research, providing the best treatments to their patients, and they don't charge their patients for that treatment. And I went through this myself with our oldest son. I have a link in the show notes to my blog post this year. If you're not familiar with my story, you can read some about that. But we are knocking on the door of $3 million raised.
It really means an incredible, incredible thing. And that is due to the fact that so many people have joined our campaign and helped support. And Stephen, why? Why would people want to join that campaign?
Well, it's simple, Myke, because before St. Jude Children's Research Hospital opened back in 1962, childhood cancer was largely considered incurable. Just think about that for a second. Incurable. But today, thanks in part to better therapies St. Jude has helped to develop, more than 80% of U.S. childhood cancer patients now become long-term survivors. 80% is incredible, but there's still more work to be done to help kids with cancer and the growing number of survivors. The number of childhood cancer survivors in the U.S. is expected to approach 580,000 by the year 2040. And St. Jude is working with a lot of those survivors to track them, follow their progress, and of course, continue to raise that 80% number. So, what you want to do, we're celebrating $3 million right now, but we got a long way to go in September. So you want to go to stjude.org/relay, where you can make a donation today. There's also some awesome rewards that you can redeem. And you can find out more about employee matching, which is huge. If you work for a company, chances are they will give money when you give money. So go check that information out. You can start a fundraising campaign of your own. We already have a bunch of them up and running. The campaign's only been up for 4 hours. We got a bunch of them up, and there's some fantastic incentives available. So thank you all. You want to go to stjude.org/relay. We're asking you to join us in September for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, because together we can cure childhood cancer. stjude.org/relay.
Couple of things. Podcastathon is back.
Yes.
September 20th. What is the time, Stephen?
It will start at noon Eastern and run for 12 hours.
It's going to be the biggest ever, as it always is. 12 hours. We're going to have more people in studio than we've ever had before, which is going to be amazing. It's going to be full of wonderful hijinks. We also have, for the last few years, had a selection of incentives for various things, or rewards, maybe is the correct word. So we have stickers and an incredible screensaver that James Thompson has put together based on the very best campaign artwork we have had that Jelly put together from us, Jelly, who develops gift wrapped. It's just incredible. You have to go to stjude.org/relay just to see this stuff. It's just like so good. Everybody involved this year, which are many, 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 many people involved this year. We're seeing so much interesting creative stuff being put together, and I think it's coming from the incredible work that Jelly did for us. Like, I think everybody's like very excited about it because it looks so good. So you can get stickers with these, with the characters of me and Stephen and various other things, as well as if you start a fundraiser of your own. If you sign up to start a fundraiser, you can not only give money there yourself, but you can encourage your friends, your family, your coworkers to give money too. And if you do that, it extends the amount of support that you can give to St. Jude, which is incredible. But if you do that and you raise certain amounts, you can go find out more on the page. There's other incentives available, including just an absolutely insanely good desk mat this year and much more stuff, and a great coin we've got going on. So yeah, tons of incredible stuff available. I want you to go and check it out. stjude.org/relay. We appreciate you. Thank you. And let's keep doing this incredible work for St. Jude.
Whew, we did it. We've launched the campaign. Now let's talk about RAM. How does that
wow, what a segue into that. Cool.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep. 3 million gigabytes of RAM in every iPhone. I think that's what we're saying.
I think so. Look, it's always hard to transition in and out of the St. Jude stuff. Just give me some grace here. 2 reports that I wanted to bring to the table this week. The first is that 16 gigabytes of RAM could be the minimum standard in M4 powered Macs. This is from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, based on information he has, and I think some testing stuff that's out there in the world. Right now, of course, you can get a bunch of Macs with 8 gigs of RAM, which is probably not enough. This coincides with another report about the iPhone, that the iPhone 17, so not the one we're going to see in a couple weeks, but the one we're going to see in a year, could come with 12 gigabytes of RAM, up from the 8 that we're expected to see in a couple weeks, which I think is up from 6, which is where we are now. So, doubling of RAM capacity in just a couple of years. I mean, obviously, I think this is about Apple intelligence. I think Apple knows what is on their roadmap there, and to do this stuff on device, you need a lot of memory. That seems to be the limiting factor on bringing this to some older devices. But it'd be quite a move, I think, especially on the Mac side. 8 gigs is just not reasonable for a lot of people. It is for some, but Apple for a while was going around saying, oh, it's like twice the RAM you get in a PC. It's like, that's not true. That's not how memory works. And Apple does a lot to manage RAM really well in Mac OS and iOS both. But I think moving that minimum up is only good for everybody.
I mean, it is for AI. There's no other reason. Right, but like, here's my question. This is the thing that like, I don't know. I think I understand, but I'm not sure. That if you increase this RAM, a lot of the increase is just taken up by holding the models. Mm-hmm. So like, it's not like you get more RAM. Like, the system needs more RAM to operate. That's my very simple understanding of this stuff. So like, you could end up with 12 gigabytes of RAM in your iPhone, but it might only really effectively still be like 8 or 9 for you. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I actually don't think anybody truly benefits from this other than this. Well, I guess it would run, like, this stuff would run better on the newer phones for that still, right? Because the older phones are also doing it, and they have the smaller amounts of RAM. So yeah, it's an interesting thing to occur, but I'm actually not really sure if users will see much of a benefit from that. Like, realistically, it's not like the machines will get faster or more capable.
Safari is still going to be snappy.
Oh, that's yes, for sure. There it is.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me, this was a big thing in the Intel Mac days. People would talk about, like, oh, my MacBook has 4 gigs of RAM, but a gig of it is video RAM, right? Like, it was sharing system memory between the CPU and the integrated GPU. And after a while, we quit talking about it. So I think you're right, Myke. Like, it is a pool, but some of that pool is going to be kind of roped off for the models to be swimming in. It's a good analogy, right? It's pretty good. So. Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I think looking ahead at next year, we're talking about the iPhone 17 for 2025. But I wouldn't be surprised if we end up in a scenario where the initial Apple Intelligence features in these current models, it's like Stage Manager on the really old iPad Pros, where like they are supported, but they're kind of janky and slow in places. So I will bet that Apple Intelligence is gonna perform better. Like, setting aside like new and exclusive features that I'm sure will come out for the 16 and 17, but even the existing features, I'm sure they will perform better and faster on the 16, and therefore even better when there's more RAM in the 17 and so forth. Like, this 15 Pro and Pro Max, they will have Apple Intelligence, but I bet it'll, in 1 or 2 years, it'll be the equivalent of Stage Manager on an old iPad Pro. Like, it's there, but if you really want to use it, you probably want to get a more recent iPhone.
And it could be Apple also like planning out what they're developing and like what they think their timelines are, right, for Apple Intelligence, where it's like by 2025 they need that amount, right? That like their kind of roadmap for what Apple Intelligence could look like. It's like, oh, time we get there, it will be like what Federico's saying. But the thing that worries me with that is like, are they going to keep roping off these new features to new phones for the next few years? I think they might.
They might.
I think they might. Like, I think we obviously what's happened has happened, and we I think to a point we were all just kind of like, they didn't really know this was going to happen, and so it's only on the Pro models because that's the only one that could support it. We kind of gave them the grace there. We'll see what happens with the iPhone 16 if there are only features that are going to come to that. We don't know. but maybe. And then the iPhone 17, it might be again, right? Like with the RAM. And it's like, are they just, is this like a way to sell new iPhones? Which I don't necessarily have a problem with, right? Because I think this has always been a thing that they've been doing, but it's just something to be aware of. Like every iPhone comes with some software thing that, is relevant to it.
The one thing I will say is, let's assume, on the other hand, that Apple does not raise the amount of RAM needed by Apple Intelligence. I will say that raising the baseline of RAM in a phone may be useful so we're looking at 2025. If in 2026 there's a foldable iPhone based on the iPhone 17 architecture, more RAM, better for multitasking.
Yeah.
And split view.
Yeah.
Or, if you have the more RAM in there, one can be on one side of the hinge, the other can be on the other side, for like the inside and outside of the screen. Is that how that works?
Yeah. That's there's a little door and the RAM goes in. It's like, now
it's
I'm
like the
outside.
iMacs.
Yes.
If you very delicately peel the plastic screen off of the iPhone, you can put more RAM in.
Oh no. I was watching some Google Pixel reviews over the weekend, and the Pixel Fold, Pixel 9 Pro Fold, or whatever its name is not out yet. So all the reviewers like, that one's coming. But I had such a flashback to the first Galaxy Fold, where like the screen protector gate, where they peeled it off and the screens died. Just what a time,
That was fun. Like that was just like one of those things that was just genuinely fun to watch unfold. Not for Samsung, probably, but watching content creators kind of either it happened to them or they start to dare themselves to remove it. That was really interesting to watch unfold.
Unfold.
It was not an intended pun, but
it's there.
But I'm happy that it happened.
Well, you're like, you got to double down on that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. So whether you're just starting out or managing a growing brand, you can stand out with a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything, products, services, even the content you create. Squarespace has everything you need, all in one place, all on your terms. So what does that mean? Think about a website you may need for a small business or a project. You need some basic pages, right? Telling people what you're about, maybe answering some FAQs. But over time, you begin to expand and grow. Maybe you want to have a blog or a page to embed videos on. Or maybe you want to start a store. And that's really easy with Squarespace. They make checkout seamless for your customers with powerful payment tools. You can accept credit cards, PayPal, and Apple Pay. And in eligible countries, you can offer customers the option to buy now and pay later with Afterpay and ClearPay. And all that stuff works together, so it's really seamless to bring a new component into your site over time. And that's really one of my favorite things about Squarespace. You can also stand out in any inbox with Squarespace email campaigns. You make outreach automatic with email marketing tools and engage your community, drive sales, and simplify audience management. Introduce your brand or business to unlimited new subscribers with flexible email templates. Then create custom segments to send targeted campaigns. Plus, built-in analytics are measuring the impact of every send. I've been using Squarespace for a long time for a wide range of projects, and I wouldn't go anywhere else. All this stuff is built in. It all works together. It looks great, so you should go check it out. Head to squarespace.com to sign up for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/connected to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain name. That's squarespace.com/connected when you decide to sign up to get 10% off your first purchase and to show your support for this, your favorite podcast. Our thanks to Squarespace for their support of Connected and all of Relay.
It's glow time, boys. And I will tell you, until I just read it out, I did not get the joke. I've seen it for days and just paid no attention to it.
It's glow time.
There you go. You got it too. So, in case you're now listening to me and you still don't get it, because there's clearly an issue here, it's showtime. Is the
Oh no,
pun.
I thought it's go time.
Yeah, I thought go
Oh.
time.
No, it's showtime. I think it's showtime because they're putting on a show, right?
But it's also time to go.
I think it's time to go.
Sure. I still think it's showtime, but it also could be go time. But the idea is it's glow time because Siri glows. Which makes me feel like what I hoped was going to happen isn't going to happen. I really hope that they were going to pull that. They were going to pull the new Siri until they actually had new Siri, like the new Siri look. But that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. But who knows, actually? Like, for all we know, it because it's obviously not going to be in 18. Maybe by the time 18.1 ships, they will put more of that in there. Like, that still kind of isn't done, but who knows? So, yes, the Apple event is on Monday, the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they doing it on a Monday, Stephen? Why would they do that, do you think? Do you have any thoughts on that? You're American.
There's a presidential debate the evening of the 10th, and I think they want to clear that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. So we're excited? We're excited for the iPhone event?
Yeah, because the 16 Pro Max is gonna be bigger. That is, and also like I'm excited about the capture button. Those are like for me the two things that I'm excited about. Obviously, I will not get Apple Intelligence. Real-time follow-up, I just installed the third beta of 18.1 that came out a few minutes ago. I was presented at setup with the Apple Intelligence onboarding flow again, and I thought, oh, did they enable it? But no, then when you unlock the phone, it says Apple Intelligence is not available for you. So the entire, go Europe. I don't care. The entire Siri Apple Intelligence segment, I'm sure there's going to be a giant one, will not apply to me personally or other people like me in the EU, but I am looking forward to a larger screen, a capture button, and I will say my hot take, I don't know if you guys caught these on App Stories, but I am using regular AirPods.
I did catch this.
Again, and I am really keen to see the new, maybe two versions of the new AirPods, non-Pro AirPods.
What's going on there?
You wanna know about the AirPods?
Yeah.
So I was feeling kind of tired after I've been using AirPods Pro since they came out, and after many years of using the in-ear tips that make a really good seal, I was getting kind of physically tired of that feeling it's a really good seal, especially if you're using foam tips or a hybrid of silicone and foam tips. I felt like I was getting a little uncomfortable with that after many years of using them, especially when I fall asleep with them at night. And I realized, so there was that sort of physical realization, but there was also a software realization in that I was looking at the settings for AirPods Pro and all the options and realized I never use any of these features. I don't use noise cancellation because I don't commute. I don't wear AirPods in public places. I don't use transparency. I don't use the specialized head tracking stuff. Like, I just want to use AirPods, and typically, like you, Steven, one at a time. Either to listen to a podcast or listen to some music while I'm doing chores around the house. Like I was using none of the AirPods Pro functionalities, and I thought, why am I using AirPods Pro if I've become this person? And so, out of curiosity, I got the base model AirPods. Really, really like them. I'm fortunate enough, and I'm completely different from Sylvia, for example, from that point of view. The shape of the AirPods, the regular AirPods, it really works for my ears. So I don't have any problems with AirPods falling out. Sylvia has that problem with the new design of the AirPods 3. That's why she's still using AirPods 2. And I've been really liking them. I like the feeling that my ear is not completely sealed. And for what I use them for, I haven't missed the AirPods Pro. So that's why I'm looking forward to the new ones.
It's interesting to me that, like, because I use noise cancellation all the time, like at home. Like, if I'm cooking, I want noise cancellation on.
Oh, no.
The cooking's too noisy.
No, I need to hear what's happening in the pan.
I can hear well enough. I just want it all lowered. Like for example, I have like a extractor fan thing. Like it's taking all the fumes out. That's too noisy if I'm standing in front of it. I can't hear anything.
I also have that, and for me, like it's kind of like white noise. I kind of like it. Like sometimes I put
the
it
sound
on.
is fine, but then I can't hear my podcast anymore. So like it goes on, and then, anyway, it's different strokes, different folks, right? But the thing. What I find interesting here, though, right? It says 2 new sets of AirPods is the rumor. Where in that they're going to replace AirPods 2 and AirPods 3, right? Which is what Apple currently sells. And I believe, if I'm remembering right, the rumor is that like both of them are going to get a new design. So I expect the people that like the AirPods 2 style, that's going to go away, and I reckon will be replaced by something that looks like the current AirPods 3, because what is currently the AirPods 3, that is going to get active noise cancellation according to Mark Gurman. So they wouldn't be good for you, because that's going to have to create an ear seal, so that's not going to be what you want. So you would probably want what would be the replacement for AirPods 2, which is a very strange thing.
I could also see a scenario in which they do something like bass noise cancellation, and on the AirPods Pro, like they rename it like Magic Noise Cancellation or whatever. Like, I do think, well, they will have to have a version of AirPods without the in-ear seal, but I also wonder
that will be the original ones. Like, so like what will replace 2?
I wonder if there's a way to do noise cancellation without the in-ear tips.
I don't think there is, unless Apple's made something new. Right, but like I think you have to create a seal, right? So like you can create an environment which you can rely on to stop the sound coming in, because otherwise it's not gonna. Hey, look! But they also created a set like of active noise cancellation headphones that didn't make me feel like my head was exploding, which is what I'd experienced before. So who knows? But yeah, there is also a rumor of new AirPods Max as well, which will bring the Max in line with the current Pro in feature set, but
the rumor was saying no different design, just USB-C and maybe new software, and
like the new chip inside.
So the new chip
do all the stuff, but
I want a new design.
I want a new design too, but I don't think they're going to do it. I tell you, man, I'm seeing them more and more in London, and I don't understand why. Like, I don't understand why now people are buying them, because I feel like I never saw them before.
There must have been some sale on Amazon or something. Because I've also seen them quite frequently. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be it. It could be a sale. So that's AirPods, as well as Apple Watch Series 10, thinner and larger screens. I have no idea what that's going to look like. Like, I can't get my head around that yet. I'm intrigued. And there's also, I don't know if this is a rumor, but like the iPad mini stock is getting low. But I think even if they're doing a new iPad mini, they're not doing it here. Like it's going to be in a second event, probably in October. Because I also saw some rumors today that there are the M4 Max, like the MacBook Pros, being produced now, which would also suggest probably October. So yeah, I reckon it's probably iPhone, Apple Watch, AirPods, this coming event, and then we'll look at Max and stuff afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean that's been kind of their rough pattern, more years than not recently. I don't know if we're going to get another spooky Halloween night one like we talked about last week, but I don't think we're going to see Max on the 9th. They tend to separate those things.
Yeah. Anything more on the event for now? Obviously, we're going to talk about it next week.
Really curious about the capture button on the phone. Yes. What they're gonna do with it? Like, is it gonna be smarter than the action button? Like, the action button, you can assign a thing to it and that's it. Whereas I feel like this is gonna support different behaviors. Like, maybe if you press it on the lock screen, it does something, but then when he opens the camera app, it does something else. Like, I feel like this will be more flexible than the action button and maybe support multiple gestures.
Well, okay. So the rumor suggests it's all camera, right? So like,
sure,
it's all camera. But it's that you could press it and it will take a photo. You could lightly press it and it will focus like a camera would, like a DSLR would. And that also there will be functions for swiping it. So maybe that would cycle between modes. Zoom, maybe?
Zoom, maybe. Maybe it's something you can configure. It could be Zoom. It could be
Yes.
cycling between modes.
But yeah, better than the action button in that way, right? Where like it just like has a bunch of stuff you can do with it, which would be good. But like this one, I don't think will be configurable in that. Maybe you could configure the camera app, maybe. I don't know. Like, maybe you want to use Halide or something.
Here's a thought. I wonder if with the capture button, that will allow Apple to make the camera app UI full screen. Like, now if you open the camera, there's like a giant black area at the bottom, and that's for flipping between cameras, the shutter button, and the preview of your latest photos. I wonder if maybe having a physical button, you can maybe get rid of that area and have the camera UI be beautiful, almost edge to edge, full screen.
That would be really nice. Maybe if like you started taking the photo by pressing the capture button, it just removes some of the UI.
That'd be cool.
Right.
Oh, I would love that. That'd
be nice.
And maybe like it would be maybe it would have a better like landscape view or something than they currently have. That'd be interesting.
Maybe they combine it with the impossible to understand or explain feature of shooting outside the frame. Do you remember that?
Oh my god! Oh my god! Is that feature still there? I think it is, right?
I think it is, but you have to turn off a bunch of stuff, right?
But it got rebranded, maybe.
No. Capture outside the frame. Apparently, it was removed in iOS 14. Maybe I'm not sure. I'm like doing some googling right now, but I think it was this thing where you had to end up. They took it away, and what was that? It was I can't remember. What was the reason that this existed?
I don't
it
even.
was the
I don't
ultra
even
wide,
know.
right?
I don't remember.
I think it was that if you took a photo, it also took a photo with the ultra wide camera, and that you could edit it for a set period of time afterwards, where you could change the zoom, like the crop, so you could bring in stuff that was outside the original frame of the photo. I think that was the idea for capture outside the frame. Man, what a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited about these phones. I think in particular, camera stuff is always a good time. So I'm going to be carrying a brown phone because I committed to that last week. So we'll see how that goes.
Now I get to use my button for my button's intended purpose, which is to quiz you. Boys, I have a quiz for you because we're back with the Quizzies, everybody's favorite game show, where I, Myke Hurley, get to quiz my connected co-hosts randomly and by surprise on a variety of varying subjects. And we're going to be playing a game we've played before. This is going to be round 2 of Guess That Tagline. Every year, when the September event is announced, Apple reveals a tagline that goes along with the invitations and the event itself. Sometimes these phrases mean something for what we can expect to be announced at the event. Sometimes they do not. I have selected 5 taglines that have been used over the last 10 years.
Whoa.
So starting from 2014 to now, I will read each to you, and you will tell me what year you think they are from. The scoring, I will tell you your scoring after everything is complete. So be aware of the numbers you're giving me, because if you repeat them, I'm not going to tell you. So maybe it's good to have something where you can write this down. But I'm going to give you the tagline. You will tell me the year. There are 15 points available for each correct guess. And because it is podcast-a-thon season, points are on the line. Stephen, all the points that you collect during Guess the Tagline today will go to your Myke versus Stephen total.
Ooh.
Because we're doing that again for the podcast-a-thon.
Yeah.
Federico, you are playing for me.
Okay.
Every point that you score goes to my podcast-a-thon total.
Therefore, give me an advantage. Can we please collude on this?
There is no collusion in the Quizzies, so I cannot. As much as I would want to,
wow.
the Quizzies,
a man with
no
integrity.
Collusion.
Okay.
Yeah, that is me.
Okay.
That is me. So there are 15 points on the line for each answer.
And we'll be able to change the score in real time. So at the end of this, the website will reflect who's winning.
Indeed it will. Indeed it will. So
Okay.
Remember, I am going to give you the tagline. You're both going to tell me the year. We're going to kind of do this snake draft style. So I'll tell you, it'll be like Steven and Federico, and then Steven for each round, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You will tell me the year. And then at the end, I will tell you which ones were correct. So, Steven, the first tagline, by innovation only. Which year was this?
What?
By innovation only.
By innovation only.
That's terrible.
It's a terrible tagline.
Mm-hmm.
By
Hey, look, I'm not saying they're good.
How many years we're going back? 10?
10
Starting with
years.
20. So September events starting with September 2014.
Yes, inclusive of 2014 to 2024.
Jeez,
By
that's back to the
innovation
first
only.
Apple Watch.
By
Mhm.
innovation only.
By innovation only. We have to pick a year.
2017.
Okay.
I don't
Federico?
even know what was in 2017. 2016.
The next one. Let's meet at our place.
Ah. Okay.
Federico, you're guessing first this time. Let's meet at our place.
So this is probably the first event at Apple Park, judging from the tagline. Let's meet at our place. So when did Apple Park open? Oh, gosh. So I went for the first time.
I am at the end of this, by the way. I am going to give you the opportunity to make changes if you want to. So, for example, if there is a year that you have said that you're now like, oh no, I know what year it was, you can tell me that. And then at the end, you can change your answers for any of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And Mike, can we use the same year more than once?
You can. That's definitely something you can do if you think that's good. But that's what I'm saying. So then at the end, if you use that year more than once, if you're really confident that one of them was correct and you didn't know it, you can go back and we can change your answers. You'll get the opportunity to do that at the end. I want to be fair here. So Federico, which year is Let's Meet at Our Place?
I am torn between multiple years. I am gonna go with 2018.
Okay, Steven?
2017.
Okay, the next one. Wish we could say more. Steven, which year was that? Wish we could say more.
Wish we could say more. 2015?
Federico?
I'm going with 2015. Yeah.
Okay. The next one. Federico, come to you first. This is our 4th out of 5. Time flies.
I vaguely remember this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the first one I recognized the name. The others you could have been making
Oh,
up.
interesting. Interesting.
I'm gonna go with 2022.
I'm going to say 2020.
Okay. Next up, California streaming.
Yeah, that was.
This is Steven first.
Steven.
This is
Oh, is
Steven
it?
first.
I'm going to say 2021.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 2020,
Okay.
and I want to
So-
change one of my answers.
You want to change one of them.
Yeah,
Which one do
I
you
want
want
to
to change?
change the one about let's meet at our place from
Okay.
2018 to 2017.
Okay. So I'm going to run through these again with you.
Okay.
All right. By innovation only, let's meet at our place. Wish we could say more. Time flies. In California streaming. Steven, do you want to make any adjustments?
What did I say for the first one?
I didn't write that down. That's up to you. I didn't write that part down. Sorry.
But how do you know if we're
I
right
told
or
you.
not?
What?
I did tell you to write it down because I put down your point scores. I didn't put down your answers.
I hope somebody in Discord did write them down because I
Yes.
didn't.
Yes.
Do you remember when I said
Kate
to you
wrote it
both?
down. Kate wrote it down. Thank
No.
you, Kate.
Do you remember when I said to you
I
both,
don't.
you may want to write this down?
No.
I did say that.
No, I don't.
I don't remember that.
don't.
Uh,
Because you said you may. If you said you must, I would have done it.
Kate
Okay,
wrote them all
well,
down. I said
all right.
2017. I'm going to change that. That feels too old.
By innovation only, that's the one you're changing?
Yeah, I'm going to change that to 2018.
Okay. Federico, did you want to make any more changes?
I asked you to move the one Let's Meet at Our Place to 2017. I don't remember what I believe I said 2014 for by innovation only.
Okay.
What was the other one?
What one? All right, here they are again. By innovation only.
Yeah.
Let's meet at our place. Wish we could say more. Time flies. California streaming.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy with oh, thank you, Kate. I'm looking at an image. I kind of want to change by innovation only from 2016 to 2014.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's it for me.
I think I'm good.
All right. By innovation only was 2019. I've got that wrong. Let's meet at our place was 2017. You both got that correct. That's 15 points each.
All right.
Wish we could say more. 2014. Neither of you got that right. Time flies was 2020. Stephen got that right. Yes. They said time flies because they kept doing events. This was the second of 3 events in a row, month by month, that they were doing. I think it was in a row, but they just done WWDC. I think it was like, whatever. So that's 15 points to Stephen. And California streaming was 2021. That's 15 points to Stephen. Federico, let me down. So Stephen, you got 45 points.
Okay.
Federico, you got 15 points.
I'm sorry, I don't remember these things. I'm sorry.
I mean, look, I was mostly just blindly guessing. The only one that I felt pretty good about after you said it, you tipped me off, was when they opened Apple Park. I was like,
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
And the way I got to it was like remembering my WWDCs in San Jose and remembering that the last one I went to in San Francisco was 2016. And the whole thing for San Jose was like, oh, it's closer to Cupertino. And that's why I changed it. Because of Apple Park.
It's good.
Well, congratulations, Stephen. You just secured 45 points in the quizzes. As well as in the Myke versus Stephen podcastathon. So these are the scores as they stand for the quizzes overall. Stephen has 540 points in 2024. Federico has 580 points. So Stephen is closing in on Federico. Federico, you need to hold on to your lead because you're currently in the lead and you've never won a year. So I want to see you win a year this year. I hope it will be this one. We'll find out next time on the quizzes.
I will. Yeah.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by 1Password Extended Access Management. Imagine your company's security like the quad of a college campus. There are nice brick paths between the buildings. Those are the company-owned devices, IT-approved apps, and managed employee identities. But then there are those paths that people, the ones they actually use. The shortcuts worn through the grass that are actually the straightest line from point A to B. In this analogy, those are unmanaged devices, shadow IT apps, and non-employee identities like contractors. Most security tools only work on those happy brick paths, but a lot of security problems take place on the shortcuts. 1Password Extended Access Management is the first security solution that brings all of those unmanaged devices, apps, and identities under your control. It ensures that every user credential is strong and protected, every device is known and healthy, and every app is visible. 1Password Extended Access Management solves the problem that traditional IAM and MDM just can't touch. It's security for the way that we work today, and it's now generally available to companies with Okta and Microsoft Entra, and in beta for Google Workspace customers. So go check it out at 1password.com/XAM. That's 1password.com/XAM. Our thanks to 1Password Extended Access Management for the support of the show.
All right, so there's an Apple event on September 9th, and obviously we are going to play our game of the Rickies. Now, for the past few iterations of the Rickies, we have noticed that statistically speaking, it's become effectively impossible for us to play the current game with the current rules and really take advantage of how the point system works with the Rickies. Basically, we never get the risky pick right. And it's making the game, I don't want to say making the game useless, because the game is still fun, but it's working against the spirit of the game, which is really strategizing for different types of points. It's a different type of game from the draft that Myke plays with Jason on Upgrade, but the way the rules have been designed for the risky pick, and how the risky pick must be qualified as risky, and how it counts for 2 points or you lose 1, we have painted ourselves in a corner. And we need to figure out a way, I think, to exit this corner while maintaining the spirit of the point system and the strategizing that was behind the creation of the Rickies. So many months ago, I proposed this idea of, why don't we put a spin on the risky pick? My brain at the time was thinking like along the lines of Mario Kart. Like I mentioned, like this blue shell system, where like I had this idea of like, where maybe if somebody loses for many games in a row, you get the equivalent of a blue shell. Like in Mario Kart, if you're last, you get the blue shell, and that allows you, it's like an elastic system that allows the people, the players in the last positions to more easily get back to the first positions. Now, that was just an idea, and it led to this conversation about like, let's brainstorm for multiple ways where we could alter the Rickies while maintaining the fun of the game and the strategy of the game, which again, I would like to be very different from the draft and upgrade. So we started brainstorming, and we started asking our listeners to share some ideas as well. Now, I believe we have collected some stats on the Rickies, and the fact that we've always ended in a draw for like how many Rickies, like for the past 6 or 7 games, I think.
I think it might be longer than that.
Probably longer than that. Myke has won 14 out of 25 coin flips. Steven has won 11 out of 25, and Federico has won 9 out of 21 coin flips. Coin flips are fine, but they're not exciting. They don't make the game exciting. They make the game come down to luck.
The coin flip is the adjudication system. It's not the scoring system. And it has been the scoring system for a really long time now, right? Like the game is always decided on a coin flip because of the risky pick rules that we have established. Even though we have tried to amend them and make them easier, it still didn't work the last time. And so that's why we find ourselves in this situation.
Mm-hmm. So we want to make the Rickies fun, and personally, I feel like I also want to make them something that we can really strategize about and really think about the points, and just not a random guessing game. Mm-hmm. And I have personally brought some ideas. I think you guys also have some ideas. Some of them yours, some of them suggested by members. Mm-hmm. So why don't you start, Myke? What do you have?
All right, so I've picked a couple of listener suggestions, and I've also kind of put my own spin on them. I've amended them a little bit to what I think makes sense. So the first one here is from Jeremy. The loser, like I said, the previous game, right? So like the person who's coming into the Rickies as the loser gets to add specificity to the current winner's risky pick in the next game. So I would say the current game. So for example, if Steven said there will be a new MacBook Pro, let's just imagine that's a risky pick for some reason, that Federico could come in and say, and they would offer it in blue.
Right.
And so I like the idea of this. I like the chaos that this would create. The issue that I foresee is I don't think it's right to like completely invalidate a pick by saying like, oh, and it comes in tartan, right? Like, you ruin it. So for this one to work, there would need to be an agreed upon specificity, and that would be hard to nail down. So we could end up back in that situation again. By the way, I consider this is a forum today. Like I think we're just going to talk about these things and we're going to come up with our own stuff out of it. But like, so the idea that I like here first is that the person who's behind gets to mess with the person who is winning, who is like currently the winner, right? To like try and stop them from winning again, because if you can stop them from winning again, it creates the likelihood for either the second or third place winner from the previous one to become the winner again, right? So that very much feels like the blue shell. Like this is like the most blue shelly of the ones that I'd found, where you are essentially coming in and making it harder for that person to win.
Yeah, the only problem is that I personally see too much potential for unfairness in this. Like, what if you say there's gonna be a new iPad and it's gonna be a new display technology, and I come in and say yes, and it's gonna be made out of gold. Like
is the problem.
I can add something totally ridiculous to invalidate your pick. And so while it is the spirit of the blue shell, I mean, at the end of the day, we're not playing Mario Kart here. We're talking about...
and like the thing is, this is possible, but I feel like it requires too many rules to make it work.
Yeah.
But that's the idea that I'm putting out there, right? That like someone would be able to mess with somebody else's thing. Now, this is the one that I really like this one. So Ryan suggested steal a pick from another player, and like that was the full thing. And so it got me thinking. All right, so we've all made our picks, right? Each contestant gets the opportunity to choose any risky pick made by another player and add themselves in for the scoring implications of that pick. So I could say, I like Steven's risky. I'm going to like double down on Steven's risky. So if he gets the points, I also get the points. If he loses points, I also lose points.
You're joining me in whatever, like we're connecting ourselves.
Yeah. And the way I would imagine this kind of thing working, first come, first serve, right? So only one person gets to join on to an individual's pick, right? So like I can join to Steven's, but Federico can't join to Steven's, but Federico could join to mine, right? And it would be a thing that you would just have to go, I want it, right? Like you just come in there and say like, I want it when the person's finished or whatever, you know?
This one I like better, I think, but it puts you in a position where maybe you're less incentivized to come up with your own ideas. And therefore you end up with fewer predictions on the show.
No, you still have to, everyone still has to do 2 picks and a risky. It doesn't change your work, does it? Because if you don't put the effort in, you're going to lose more points still.
But it still feels like kind of taking advantage of someone else's work in a way.
Exactly. Because what you're trying to do is stop the person who's best at picking, right? Because if somebody's got a really good pick, then you can join on.
There is a version of this that I had pulled that took this idea but had a twist on it. That instead of attaching myself to your picks, I force a trade. So if I'm the loser at the end of the game, I get to say, I actually want to trade my risky for Federico's risky.
Yeah, but then you're in a scenario where if you know you're going to do that beforehand, you create the riskiest risky of all time and you just like lay that on someone, right?
Is that bad? I don't know.
It's a thing. I don't know if it's bad or good. It's a thing. I like the idea. So like, I like the idea of you you're in it with someone, right? Like if I like Federico's risky, I'm like, yeah, I want Federico's risky points too. And now me and Federico, we're like going down together. Like I kind of like that.
But yeah, you go down together, but also it creates another opportunity for another draw. Because if you get it, then it's not just one person that gets it, it's 2 people, and now there's another coin flip.
Yeah, but you have to but the idea though is you're also getting your own points.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, at the end of round 2, we all have 2 points.
Yep.
Then there's a conjoined risky pick, and I don't get it, but you and Steven do. And so now you're both at 4 points, and we still need to do another coin flip.
Yeah, but that's then presuming that. So let's say I've joined on Steven's. I still have my own risky to be scored. Right?
Okay.
So
your risky remains.
My risky remains. I am just have the opportunity to get more points from yours.
Yeah. So it's not
Right?
a trade. It's a adhesion.
It's not a trade.
situation.
But I feel like if we do this,
Mm-hmm.
you need to like it. It shouldn't be like an unlimited supply of being able to say every year, every single time, oh, I also want that.
Well, let's say only the loser gets to do it. Let's say then
The
Right.
loser of the previous game.
the loser of the
Yeah.
previous game.
Definitely
So
that.
the loser of the previous game gets the opportunity to put their chips down on one other risky.
Okay,
So that's
this one I like
we're
better.
blue shell in it, right? So like then what I also like about that is a good change because then it stops the like first come first serve nature of it where everyone's like shouting
Right.
across each other to try and grab
Right.
something. But like at the end of the game, the loser of the previous, it would be the, I guess whatever the corresponding one is, right? It would be
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
annual or event
All right.
would
yeah.
get the opportunity to like join the points. So that's come up with wording for this. It's better than all the attempts that I've tried, so that they could take on the additional scoring of one other person's risky pick.
Yes. This could work.
I think so far it's better than the first one. So
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I agree.
And,
it's better than
it
the
is
first one.
blue shelly in spirit. I
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
say, like because it's the loser of the previous game. So yeah, it adds variability. You're still keeping your risky. Yeah. Yeah.
And because
I like it.
everybody likes to win, I think something like this, and what I like about the blue shell idea anyway, is it creates the opportunity that more of us will be the winner.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
No,
also
definitely.
could do some truly chaotic things where like where the loser could end up losing worse, which is also funny too. Right? That like you lost last time and now you go in on someone else's risky and it's wrong and then you end up in like -2 points or something
Yes.
like that, which is also fun. All right, so we'll put that on there. That's the best one of those two. That's up for contention. By the way that I saw it today, I don't know what you guys thought. This isn't just one rule change. Like we could end up with lots of rule changes today.
Yeah.
Is the way I imagined
It's
this.
possible.
Yeah, like I don't feel like we have to choose one.
I have brought a couple. I'm gonna start with the first one. So I realized that we've been playing this game for a long time now, and we have accumulated this database of historical picks that maybe at the time we got wrong, but I mean, for example, if you go to reevaluate.co, I believe there are many picks that came true years later. Usually risky picks that were correct in hindsight, just not in time for the event that the game was playing for. So my idea was to add some variability. Idea number one was we could check X number of past events and grant one bonus regular pick to the host that predicted something correct ahead of its time. Sort of as a way to reward the, if you will, delayed skill of a person. That was my thought. Like, how do you tap into the historical database of picks that came true after the fact? I don't know how many we have, honestly.
I do.
Hmm.
Okay.
So I'm just pulling it up. So Myke has, I don't actually have the number. I have the percentage. So 20% of Myke's wrong picks came true later. On average, he's 1.2 years ahead of his time. Federico, you're 21.1%, on average 0.8 years ahead of your time. I'm only 17.7%, also at 0.8 years. So we're pretty close. I mean, I
This
think
definitely favors you two, but I
a
guess it
little
depends how far we go back. I would say I love this.
one time I was only 27 days off.
What was that?
I don't know. That's brutal though.
And I think ahead of its time, Jason was asking, like, do we need to standardize what ahead of its time means? For me, it just means it didn't come true at the event that the game was adjudicated for. Even if it came true at any point after the event and the scoring of the Rickies, that means it was ahead of its time. Like, if we score the September 2024 event and I have a pick and it doesn't come true the week of September 9, but it comes true on September 30th, that's ahead of its time. That's the way I look at it.
Okay. So like, I don't know if I was necessarily, I'm not disagreeing. My initial thought was that like it came true at the event that we just had, but maybe that's a bit too difficult still. I think we need to decide on the length of time, but I do really like this as an idea. For two reasons I like it is one, it rewards us for being smart if we were smart, and two, we're very much behind the curtain at this point. One of the things that's always helpful for this is that's more content for the episode, right? There's like a whole extra segment in the episode where we talk about the things. Because also as well, with the way that we structure the game, sometimes there's stuff we don't talk about really, like in depth on that episode because it wasn't in our picks. And this would give us the opportunity to talk about that thing, right? That like, say for example, a pick was like, Apple's going to change the way that Apple Watch bands work, and that didn't happen. But then we don't pick it in this one, and they do it. We might not talk about it because it didn't necessarily fall in to the flow of the picks that we've made. But this will give us the opportunity to actually talk about that stuff. So I think we need to decide on the amount, but I like the idea personally.
Okay.
But also I feel like, what do you do about the fact that we score the rounds differently?
What do you mean?
So, I mean, a risky pick is worth more points than a regular pick. I feel like we shouldn't keep that into... I feel like it should just be 1 point for everything.
I think it's one per.
Yeah, even if it's a risky...
I wasn't saying you grant 1 point. I was saying you grant one bonus regular pick. Like you offer the person one more regular pick. You give them a chance to score another point. You don't just give them a point.
So that this would be something we would actually be doing in the prediction episode.
Yes.
For some reason, I thought it was giving bonus points.
No, that was my thought. You do it in the prediction episode.
And is it one bonus pick per thing?
So if we check, say, 5 or 7, 6 or 7 previous events,
TT picks,
and Steven got 2 correct in that number of events.
Yeah,
he can get 2 more regular picks.
I think I prefer this because it still doesn't. It's not like a guaranteed thing that you get, right? Like you've still got to make the picks. Yeah, I think this is good. I think I would agree with 3 events.
Yeah,
maybe. And this would be something, as is always, we could adjust it, right? Like if it ends up being that like everyone's getting 5 extra picks each time, then but that's the thing, we can see how that plays in practice. But yeah, if we say I like that. Check the past 3 events on a rolling basis, grant 1 bonus regular pick to a host that predicted something ahead of its time, and I guess that would be per correct previous pick, something like that.
Well, I mean, that's baked in. If it grant 1 bonus regular pick to a host that predicted something correctly ahead of its time.
Yeah.
I think it's good. It's good.
That was idea number 1. There's a longer one. There's another one that is a bit more involved and a bit different, and we're going to do it after the break.
This episode of Connected is made possible by KRCS, one of the oldest Apple premium resellers and your one-stop shop for all things Apple in the United Kingdom. For our UK listeners, right now at KRCS, you can get 0% interest on any Mac over £1,000 for 12 months. That means you can buy the latest M3 MacBook Air for just £76 per month. You can make your Mac truly yours and have the exact specification you want with pricing you simply won't find anywhere else. Or choose from popular models in stock, and as long as it's over £1,000, it qualifies for 12 months interest-free credit. With free next working day delivery on in-stock items ordered before 3 p.m., there's never been a better time to get a Mac at KRCS, your local Apple experts. Get more information at the link in the show notes or visit krcs.co.uk/podcast. 18 plus only, subject to approval. Terms and conditions apply. Please spend responsibly. Borrowing beyond your means could seriously affect your financial status. Ensure you can afford to make your repayments on time by their due date. Once again, go to krcs.co.uk/podcast and get free next day working day delivery on in-stock items ordered before 3 p.m. Our thanks to KRCS for the support of the show and all of Relay.
Okay, so idea number 2. This is not my idea. This came from Sylvia. We did a whole brainstorming session, and I explained how the rules have changed over the years. And she started thinking, so it's a very different idea, but I think it has potential. So keep an open mind. First off, this will require changing the format of the risky picks. With this idea, the risky picks have a new format. Every risky pick must be comprised of at least 3 details. For example, you're predicting something about the iPad Pro, and you're saying, there's going to be a new iPad Pro. It will have OLED, that's detail number 1, a bigger display, that's detail number 2, and faster charging, that's detail number 3. We often do these risky picks.
Mm-hmm.
And so many times over the years, we have gotten something almost correct because we got 2 out of 3, or 3 out of 6 details right. But we couldn't get the point because it was not entirely correct. So this system wants to, again, reward our skills even though we were not all the way there. Sylvia's idea was, a risky pick is made out of 3 details or 3 variables. Call them however you want. If you get all 3 correct, you still get 2 points. Same as always. If you get all wrong, you still lose 1 point. The changes are, if you get at least 1 correct, you don't lose any points. If you get 2 out of 3 correct, you get 1 point. That's the idea.
I think Sylvia's a genius. Honestly. I've been thinking, I read this in a document yesterday and I've been thinking a lot about it, right? Where I was like, oh, it will change the risky pick format, like maybe too much. But then I thought, actually, no, because you don't, we've been doing this for a while. I think I started doing it with like some insane one once where I just kind of didn't know what to pick. So I just gave a list of stuff. I think it was about the Mac Pro or something. And then it ended up becoming like a good way to get a point out. Like you kind of layer in complexity because it disrupts how right you can be. Because I was thinking, but like not all riskies are like that, right? Like sometimes you just have like so the one I was thinking of, right, was Apple makes a DAC, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Ahead of its time, you know?
Yeah. Well, to be determined. But I thought, whilst you could still make that pick, but now you put in 2 things about it. And you could actually get into a scenario where, depending on the pick, you could actually still get points even if they don't do the main thing, right? So, like, let's imagine it was like Apple makes a DAC and they launch hi-fi streaming and right? So, like, you could end up getting into a scenario where you've got that. So, I think this, again, like other things, we're going to have to feel out how that's going to work. And there's probably, knowing us, going to be some discussion about it. But I really like the rewarding of something. So, like, let's imagine Federico said there was a new iPad Pro and it's going to have OLED, a bigger display, and faster charging. And it had OLED and faster charging. It's like you're actually still benefiting from that, even though the display wasn't any bigger. So I think it's good.
Yeah. This is my favorite so far, by far, because it doesn't require a bunch of digging through the history of things, which can be complicated. And this one kind of doubles down on what makes the risky pick funny over the years, because how many times have one of us made a pick with a bunch of variables in it and half of them are wrong, right? Like this is something we stumble into. So rewarding that feels right. Like this is my favorite. This is what I would vote for right now.
Yeah, this is also my favorite, and I think it really leans into the idea of strategizing, because maybe you could think, okay, I'm gonna have three I think I believe it was Jason suggested the conditions name, which I really like instead of details or variables. I think conditions could work. You may be thinking, okay, I have these three conditions and I kind of want to risk it with one of them, but don't come up with something totally insane for the other two. And they still need to be risky. Like, I'm not saying these are not going to be regular picks, but like, there's obviously a degree of risky. Like, saying that the capture button in the iPhone 16 maybe will hide the camera UI is different from obviously saying, oh, and it will also support, I don't know, 5 different levels of pressure sensitivity. Like, there's a degree, there's a spectrum of risky. And this format, I think it adds more strategy to the mix.
And again, it's like, we're still going to have to agree that things are risky, because like there is a scenario here where you could imagine people being able to get themselves an easy 1 point or something, right? But like a couple of things that they pick, but that's why we're still going to be doing the adjudication that we do beforehand, just to make sure that we're coming to the episode agreeing on it, even though we still don't always, but we try our best. And all of those details are going to have an element of complexity to them. They can't just be like, and it connects to the internet, like they still have to have, they're still going to need to have something where it's not like completely obvious. And so, that can either come from like the base of the pick, or all of the details are complicated.
Yeah. Okay. I got 2. They're both from listeners. Josh's dips into the flexies to affect the rickies, which is interesting because right now we treat them basically as separately. So Josh says, for every $100 donated in the previous flexies, you get a bonus regular pick inserted at the time of your choice, possibly interrupting another host. I don't think that part's necessary. I think it could just be an additional regular pick. You may not pre-select this pick in the document. It must be litigated on air.
Okay, so
I guess that's why he said you could interrupt. So like if Federico, so say that I go first and then Federico is doing his next, and then I have an idea, I can say, hey, actually I'm spending $100 of my dollar, or like cashing in $100 of my previous donation for an extra pick. It's complicated in timing, but I like the idea of the flexies having influence where they have not had influence before.
Interesting. See, I don't like the
me neither.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, this is a democracy,
I do like the not in the documentness of it all.
Yeah, me neither. Me too. Yes.
And so I could imagine if we wanted to do the check the past 3 events on a rolling basis,
that's literally what
pick.
I was gonna say. This, yes, let's combine them.
You can put that in at any moment, but this is the thing that we don't need to put in the rules. We all agree on. You can't steal something that's already in the document, though.
No.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you can't pick Steven's pick that he hasn't made yet. Like, but I think we all know that we're not going to do that because that's just mean. But yeah, so if I could imagine, like, check the past 3 events on a rolling basis, grant 1 bonus regular pick to a host that's predicted something correctly ahead of its time. This can be inserted at a time of the picker's choosing, possibly interrupting another host. You may not pre-select this pick in the document. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fun.
And then the last one I mentioned earlier, it's the idea of a swap. So the previous loser, in the corresponding game, at the end of the game, they get to swap a pick with somebody else. And I think it could be a regular pick so Chris wrote standard pick for standard pick, risky for risky. So I can't say, I'm going to give you my standard pick and I'm going to take your risky, right? So I want my risky, you're going to take mine. So again, I think that's maybe the simplest out of all of these.
Yeah, but it's the most devious in a way that I don't like. Like I can give you a time bomb, right?
Sure.
Where I can just pick something and then just give it to you.
But isn't that exactly what a blue shell is?
No.
Yeah, but like it was the original idea, but then in talking about it, it seems like
It's more
too
about rubber
evil.
banding than anything else, not
Yeah.
not blue shells. Honestly, I would take Sylvia's first, and we can see how that goes, and maybe if this doesn't work,
I think we should do more than one. I think we should do the
I think we should do
points system,
Yes.
and I think we should do the roll-in events one with
Okay.
the combo of
I think
throwing it in.
I think we go into the prediction episode having checked the past 3 events, so we know who has the regular pick. That can be inserted at any time during the episode. Doesn't have to be written down into the document. Cannot be stolen from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Riskies have Sylvia's format.
I do feel like in, say, the rule reading, we should state at that point who
Yes.
has what.
Yes. At the
Right.
end, you can say something like, for this game,
Steven has 3.
yeah,
Myke has 1.
Yeah.
Federico has 1 or something
Yeah.
like that. Because then we can talk about them. I would like to talk about them, right?
yes.
That feels pretty good to me.
It feels good to me, yeah.
So
I love
I'm
making the rules longer.
they are So I'm in the Bill of Rickies right now in Notion, updating quietly in the background.
Yeah.
Must
good
have
luck.
3 conditions.
Good luck. And we'll just have to check it and get the, do kind of like the litigation beforehand. I think this is fun. What I like about this, I like that we get to dip into the past. I think that's fun and will be really intriguing to see kind of like how that plays out over time. And then I also like that we're creating a new, like, the problem in this game is the risky pick, right? Like, that is what we have established is the issue for why we do so many coin flips.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a better attempt, I think, at trying to stop the tying that we're getting.
Yeah.
So let me read you the risky picks, and then I want to go back over the other thing because I'm still not quite sure I know how to write it. So
Yep.
I replaced the old risky pick language with this. Risky picks have a more complex scoring system. Each risky pick must have 3 conditions attached to it. If you get all 3 conditions correct, you earn 2 points. If you get 2 conditions correct, you earn 1 point. If you get 1 condition correct, you earn 0 points. If you get all 3 conditions wrong, you lose 1 point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Picks must have been approved as risky by the 2 other hosts before the start of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That feels
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Where do
Because I guess we can still do, like, you have 3, and you can still add additional context like we like to sometimes, right? But they're like not the parts of the pick. You have
I think
to,
the
like, define
ungraded
things.
line will be a little
Ungraded,
more
yeah.
important.
Ungraded.
Yeah.
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 A little more important now. So the other one,
It's probably its own area, right? Like, I don't think we have anything that this attaches to. Maybe when it talks about what the picks are, maybe after the risky pick it could go in, right? That, like, you could kind of mention it then, because it is, like, essentially another round, or maybe it goes before the risky pick because it's you're picking a regular pick. It's like each host gets 2 regular picks. They also get an additional pick for each correct item they've predicted in the past over the last 3 rolling events or something like that.
yeah, so each host gets to make 2 regular picks and then 1 additional pick is allowed based on number of this gets hard. Ahead of its time.
Why don't we agree on the language?
Okay.
And then we can find a place to
Yeah.
put it. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I have like 1 sentence. Where it goes is less important than what it says.
Well, let's try and work it out then. So what we have in the document is check the past 3 events on a rolling basis. Grant 1 bonus regular pick to a host that predicted something correctly ahead of its time. This pick can be inserted at a time of your choice. I'm going to add that in here.
We need to specify that it's 1 bonus regular pick per.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, we need to specify that we are checking only regular picks and risky picks, not the flexes.
Grant 1 bonus regular pick for each regular or risky pick
Yes.
that was predicted correctly ahead of its time. Let me read this. Check the past 3. Oh, this we're realizing here how bad Notion could be at 3 people trying to do something at once to the same sentence. Check the past 3 corresponding games on a rolling basis. Grant 1 bonus regular pick for each regular or risky pick that was predicted. I'm just gonna say pick. We'll work it out. It's in the rules for that game, so like we know what that means.
Yeah.
Grant 1 bonus regular pick for each item that was predicted correctly ahead of its time. This pick can be inserted at a time of their choice. Yeah. The host's choice, possibly interrupting another host. You may not pre-select this pick in a document. It must be. We don't need litigated parts necessary. I'm going to read it one last time. Check the past 3 corresponding games on a rolling basis. Grant 1 bonus regular pick for each item that was predicted correctly ahead of its time. This pick can be inserted at a time of the host's choice, possibly interrupting another host. Don't need to put that in there either. You may not pre-select this pick in the document. I think the tense needs to be changed a little bit, but I think wording rise actually makes sense.
I can clean that up off the air, but I think that's about right.
Yeah.
Okay, how are we feeling?
I feel great about these 2 things.
Yeah, I feel good.
And I can't wait for next week to put them in action.
Yeah, this is gonna be so much more strategic and fun, I think.
Or a beautiful disaster and we change it all again.
Which is also fun. So.
Exactly. We have still a big list of blue shell items. So we can keep trying this. Wouldn't it be great if we end up in a situation where it's just like it's still a tie, but everybody has -1?
That would be incredible.
We just gone in the opposite direction. Just made it harder. Incredible.
Well,
I think that's it.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. If you want to find links to the stuff we spoke about, including our St. Jude campaign, check out the show notes at relay.fm/connected/516. Those links are also in your podcast player. There's also links there to leave feedback or follow-up, or to become a member and get Connected Pro, which is a longer ad-free version of the show each and every week. This week we talked about Oasis getting back together. We did not talk about whatever Linkin Park is doing, as much as I wanted to. Didn't get into that. Maybe next time. It's going to be a music show for the next couple weeks, I think. We will be making our picks for Apple's iPhone event next week, so stay tuned. You can join us live if you're a member in the Discord. We'd love to have you there on Wednesdays when we record. You can find us all online. Federico is the editor-in-chief of MacStories.net, and you can find him as Viticci, Viticci, across Mastodon and Threads. You can follow Myke as iMyke in Mastodon and Threads. He hosts a bunch of other shows here on the network and, of course, does great work over at Cortex Brand. You can find my writing at 512pixels.net, and I am ISMH86 on social media. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week for making the show possible: ZocDoc, Squarespace, 1Password Extended Access Management, and KRCS. And until next week, guys, say goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Cheerio.
Bye, y'all.